Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I wanted to talk to you about cream products. Cream highlight, cream bronze, cream blushes, cream eyeshadows, cream things. So just before we get started, I just want a disclaimer about my definition of cream versus liquids. So when I started like going through all my drawers and picking out my favorite creams, I originally picked up a few things when I was like, actually those aren't creams. In my opinion, they're liquids. Things like the Charlotte Tilbury like Beauty Light wands, contour wand, things like the Anastasia liquid glows, all those things that to me, the NARS liquid blushes, they're liquids, not creams. If it can run, if it can be squeezed out, if it can be poured out, I've left it out. That's my definition. If it's a solid thing that you would need to melt in order for it to run, that is how I have defined creams. So yeah, anything like runny, I've left it out. So it's not that I don't love those products, but they are liquids as opposed to creams that I want to talk to you about today. So if you know me, if you've watched me, I don't use a huge amount of cream products because I've had very mixed results with cream products. I have a lot of pros with them. I think they're really good on more mature skin. I think they're more flattering on texture, lines, pores, wrinkles, etc. I think they can look very beautiful and skin-like. They can be obviously more dewy. When we're talking about things like bronzers and blushes, they look more luminous generally and glowy on the skin. Yeah, so there's lots of pros. I think they also last a very long time, as in not on the skin, but they take a long time to get through, to use up. They're generally good value for money because you use such a small amount. They're also generally more pigmented, like easier to build colour, things like that. But there are definitely lots of cons for most cream products. Number one, I don't find them as long wearing as powders unless you set them with a powder, which defeats the object. I always find them trickier to apply than a powder, depending on what you've got down. You know, you have to change your order of product. Most creams can't be successfully layered on top of powders. Even foundations can get moved around by creams that are heavier or stickier. Generally, I find creams a pain to apply. They can also get like funked up quite quickly, getting like things like hairs and dusts embedded in there. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to cream products. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a huge cream fan, which is why I wanted to share with you my cream products, my favourites, the ones that I love, the ones that I think are the best that I have tried as far as formulas, and the ones I've had the most success with, so that you guys can see actually some of these cream products can work and do work even for someone who's not the most adept at applying them. So I'm going to start off with the eyes because I only have two cream shadows that I have ever loved that don't really crease, that are really beautiful on the lid, that I get on with very well and are long lasting and don't cause me any issues. I think cream shadows are like probably one of my favourite cream products because they just look so beautiful. They're so quick and easy. Like when I'm going to work, I will more often than not only use a cream shadow on the lid. I feel like it blends beautifully and easily with like the rest of your makeup. You don't have to prime and set and do all those other steps that you sometimes don't have the time for when you're rushing into work. A little dab of a cream shadow on the lid and you are good to go, and it looks gorgeous. And you can also layer if you've got more time. You can buff some bronzer in your crease and then go in with a cream shadow. I think they're such a good time saver. So my ultimate favourite is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Jean. There's definitely some more shades of this that I want to pick up. It's quite a sort of thick, almost like spongy gel like consistency. It goes on so smoothly. I use the tiniest amount of this. It's a classic like champagne-y, wet look, glowy, shiny, glorious shadow. Just the easiest formula, the tiniest little bit, literally what's left on my finger there from that swatch, I would just pat on the lid and it just looks heavenly every time. So pretty, easy to wear, a very easy quick dab on the lid, and it will just brighten the eye and it looks super glowy and glorious. So next up, MAC's Paint Pots. Now I prime my lids with MAC's Soft Ochre for years. Before that I was using oh, what's it called? Painterly. I didn't even get to the Google situation, it just popped into my head. Painterly I was using before that. I prefer Soft Ochre on me, on my skin tone, as a lid primer, but actually you can get some beautiful shades just to use as lid shades. So my favourite is Indianwood, which is it's just, I find this actually a really unique colour. It's like a bronze glowy shade, so it is like, it isn't as sort of shiny and glittery as the Charlotte Tilbury, but it has got a gorgeous bronzy glow. Just here, this is the Charlotte Tilbury and Jean, and this is Indianwood. It is the perfect summer bronze goddess. Whack a bit of this on your lid and it is just so wet and shiny and just gorgeous, really flattering on the skin, especially with summer tan skin. Heavenly and perfect for holiday. That's another pro actually I didn't talk about, is obviously creams don't shatter, so perfect for travel. You're not gonna, you know, have a shattering cream highlight. You're not gonna open your eyeshadow, you know, and find it's all dust broken to pieces in your suitcase. So that is another pro as far as creams and liquids, that they are obviously less fragile in a suitcase. So those are my two favourite cream eyeshadows. Obviously you can use other cream products on the eyes, most of them are eye safe. But moving on to the skin. So I have one cream bronzer kind of, and then a cream contour. My favourite, the only cream bronzer really that I've ever loved, and this is the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. I know you guys have heard me talk about this one before. It's very, very sad in the summer when I can't use this because it does come in the one shade. It smells, it smells like heaven. Heaven, like summer. Can you turn your car off please? I'm filming. Just too light for me in the summer. You can see it's kind of just only just about showing. I can give it, you know, a very subtle bronze, just about. Is there any difference? But that's not really my jam, my vibe. It is just gorgeous. It's the perfect formula. I don't have any issues with this moving anything underneath, which is almost unique. I don't know why I'm showing you, you can barely see it. But for lighter skins, for fair skins can use this, up to like a medium skin. I'd say around like an NC 35, that will give you a really decent bronze. I'm like an NC 40 and it's basically the same colour as my bod. But the most beautiful formula, the easiest cream product I think in here as far as working with it, bar the next one. But yeah, it blends out like an absolute dream, goes onto the skin like an absolute dream. Because it's a bronzer, obviously you don't have to layer it on top of a powder, you just go foundation. Bronzer's kind of your next step anyway, other than like concealer, and you can leave the powder until after. But I have honestly never had any issues. It kind of sets down to like a powder finish, so stuff goes on top of it beautifully. It's just the perfect bronzer, but it needs to have more shades. It's also huge. This is an ounce, 30 grams in here, really good value for money. It will last you for forever, well, give or take. So for cream contour, now I've left out my Charlotte Tilbury stick because classes it as a liquid in my opinion. So this is my #1 cream contour, and this is MAC's Studio Fix Perfecting Stick, which is actually deemed to be a concealer, but I use it as a contour. So I have the shade NW50, which is the deepest cool toned shade. Can you see how perfect that is? It isn't grey, it's a sort of neutral cool tone to it that is just like the perfect you know, deeper than my skin but not crazy. It blends like an absolute dream. Again, because it's a contour, it's a cream product I can get on board with. It's very natural. This blends very beautifully without blending away. It's got a lovely natural finish to it. It's probably my favourite contour product of all time. I definitely prefer a cream contour to a powder contour. I just find it looks much more natural. It gives you like a natural barrier on the skin so your other products don't travel below it, which is really helpful for me. I'm haphazard, I am messy, I am big-handed, I am just a mess, and this keeps my products where I want them. It's very easy to control when it's blending out. It's the perfect size. You don't need another brush, you know, like the Huda Beauty contour to like apply it and then blend it out. It's just literally draw some lines on your face wherever you want them. Very easy to blend out, very unscary, and obviously because it's a concealer, there are all types of different shades in this. So if you're fairer, you can just pick up a lighter shade. If you want a warmer contour, you can just use an NC shade. It's got lots of different options because it is a concealer. I love it, and it does really last a long time as well. Next up, blushes. So this is where I really start to struggle. I have a real issue with cream or liquid blushes. They cause me a problem. They are, to me, tricky. I've had to play around a lot trying to find the right brushes, the right application method, the right order of events in order to make liquid or cream blushes in any way, shape or form work for me. One of my absolute favourites is the Milk lip and cheek sticks. So I have two. I have the shade Werk and I have the shade Perk. So these are designed to go on lips and cheeks. They do look lovely on the lips, but I don't like the feel of them because it's very like waxy. My neighbours are really trying to play me for a fool today. So yeah, I don't really like the feel of them on my lips, but the shades are really nice on the lips and it works fine, all of that jazz. It just doesn't feel the nicest texture on the lips. So Werk is this beautiful like pinky sort of mauve shade, and then Perk, this is so confusing. Perk is this peachy, gloriously glowy shade that I have on today, and I've just used it very lightly today. I love these. They aren't easy as far as versus a powder. So this is Perk, no. So this is Werk at the top, the pinky shade, and Perk at the bottom, the slightly lighter, more peachy shade. As you can see, very glowy and gorgeous and natural and skin-like. So the one issue I have with these, as with any like cream or liquid cheek product, is that they do move my base products. If I put bronzer on first and then I go in with these, whatever I do, light hand, sponge, brush, fingers, whatever I do, it will ultimately move any bronzer that I've put on first. So I just slightly change my order. So I'll do my foundation and concealer, then I'll go in with the cheek stick, and I use my Japanesque cheek brush. So it's like a cream, very sort of dense brush, and I'll really lightly build it up on the cheeks, and then I'll finish off the rest of my makeup, eyes, give it a second to sit into the skin, and then I'll go in with a bit of bronzer over the top once it's had a second, just really at the tops of the cheekbones as I've done today. But it's still problematic, it still causes me issues if I'm not very, very careful, but I love them on the skin, so it's worth a bit of work for me. Yeah, I think they're beautiful, they're very buildable, they look gorgeous and dewy and skin-like and natural on the skin. So yeah, I think it's worth a little bit of playing around getting them to work for you, but lots of cheek cream liquid cheek products cause this issue for me. So these are the best that I have found. Next up are MAC's cream colour bases. Now again, these come in all different shades, and they have like more bronzy shades, they have more blush shades, and they have more like highlight shades. One of their most popular shades is Hush, which is a very popular like cream highlight. The two shades that I love are both like blush shades pretty much. So the first is Bamboo, which is this peachy glorious shade. So this is a bit of a thicker consistency to the Milk sticks, which I find helps it go on a bit easier. And then the second shade I have is the shade Tint, which is like a bronzy, glowy, I want to say blush, but it can kind of be a bit of a like bronzer. I was kind of using this when I was on holiday. This is one of the products I took with me on holiday, and I just kind of put this is the shade Tint and this is Bamboo. So I was using Tint on my cheeks and just not bothering with bronzer because it has that kind of bronzy tone to it. Really glowy. You don't need highlight again with these blushes. They're just dewy and luminous enough without needing to have highlight on the top. But really gorgeous shades, consistency and finish with these cream colour bases. So lastly but not leastly, highlights. So I have two cream highlights that I found that I absolutely love, and they are both very unproblematic. Probably the least problematic products that I've mentioned today that are creams, because I guess it's very easy to very lightly touch highlight on, as opposed to blushes, which, you know, you need it to show up, so you need to build the colour. With highlights, you don't necessarily need to build them. If it's a good highlight and it's cream, you can use the lightest hand, be very, very gentle, pat it on, and it will be there. So first up is the Hourglass Vanish Highlighting Stick, and I have the shade Champagne Flash. And I literally, I mean, I can kind of swipe this on. I kind of dab it and then just slightly blend the edges, which stops it moving anything, because you don't need to brush, you don't need to like build it up, it's just there. And I will either use my finger on here, depending where I'm putting it, down the bridge of my nose, chin, I can use my finger. Sometimes I use my Daniel Sandler watercolour brush on the cheekbones, and it's just very easy to work with. It's very blendable. You don't need a lot of it, so it kind of tones down the risk of moving anything if you need less product, and it's just very natural, wet looking, glowy, dewy skin. Let me put a little bit on a collarbone. Let me put a little bit on here so you can see how easy it is to blend. Like, it literally can just be patted in a little bit, and it's just so glowy. Again, comes in lots of different shades, so you can kind of pick which one works best for your tone. Really ideal for the body because you can just wherever you want it. I really like the size, the shape. I feel like you get a lot for your money. I've had this quite a long time. Still going. There we go, that's the whole thing, and I have used it a fair amount. So I feel like you get a lot of product for your money, which is true of a lot of Hourglass products. They do tend to give you some bang for your buck. And then last but not least, this is the Natasha Denona Tans, Bronze and Glow. Did I just say tans? This is the Natasha Denona Tan, Bronze and Glow palette, and this, if you don't know, is the best cream highlighter of life. In fact, one of my favourite highlights, just full stop. It's just the perfect shade for me at the moment. I struggle a little bit with highlights in the summer because a lot of them are a bit light, so they leave like a light cast on my skin. This is like the perfect shade for me. It's so wet looking. So here is the Natasha Denona Glow, and then here is the Hourglass. So you can see with this Hourglass stick on my current skin, it leaves like a light cast, whereas the Natasha Denona sinks right into my skin tone. So if I want a mega subtle, soft, natural, like she's not wearing highlights, she's just a glowy baby, this is like my go-to by itself. I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful and pretty. Just perfect for my more tan skin. So there you have it. I would love to know your cream product holy grails, your faves, your recommendations in the comments. As always, down below, hit me up. I've already literally ordered another one today, which is the Kaja Weiss. How do you say that? Know who will know how to say that. It will be Michelle. Michelle Wong will know how to say this.
Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a full face of Kaja Weiss makeup.
Kaja Weiss.
This is an organic...
Kaja Weiss, thank you Michelle. So Kaja Weiss, I've already ordered one of their cream blushes. They're supposed to be like the holy grail of cream blushes. So although I always say I'm not a fan of creams, they drive me nuts, they're too hard, I keep ordering more. What's wrong with me? I hope you found this video helpful and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.